Anapana meditation, you said you observe or you in-breath and out-breath and experience the impermanence or rise and fall. Is there still Kaya Sankara exists during that practice?
Definitely. Kaya Sankara is always there as long as you breathe.
Yes.
As I told you, breath is the body conditioner. Since breath is body conditioner until you pass away, breath is going to condition your body. And therefore, Kaya Sankara is there always, even when you sleep.
And also Vachi Sankara is also there, no, when you contemplate on...
No, Vachi Sankara only when you have intention to say something, Vachi Sankara start working.
what
As
about
I
inner
said,
talk?
Vachi Sankara means...
Yeah.
What?
What about the inner talk? Like when you say, like, it's rising and falling, is there still inner talk?
What about what? Say it again.
The inner talk, in your mind, you say, like, rise and fall, is there still intention to say,
No.
No.
Rise and fall happens automatically, but you intend to notice it. That is your intention. Without even your intention, rising and falling takes place even when you are asleep. Yeah.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much. Pinsideva.
Okay. Let me see. Well, we have almost 7 minutes, and we can still ask me questions.
There's one, Bhante. Bhante, do we remove small karmas before the fruit of stream entry? Can we?
Those karmas that would take us to a woeful state of existence will not be committed even on the path of stream entry. So before the stream entry, we keep cleaning our mind. As soon as we remove all the karmas that cause woeful state of birth in woeful state of existence, we remove them. As soon as we remove them, then we would be in the stream entry path. For instance, believing in permanent self, observing wrong rites and rituals, believing in them, and doubt about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, especially when one removes the doubt about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, then you will not commit unwholesome karmas that would bring you down to woeful state of existence. And then that is how you prepare for it. And once you attain that state, from that time onward, you are already committed not to commit any more such karmas. Any other question?
Yes, Bhante.
Bhante, may I ask?
This is Bill. I have a question.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
that I'm on the path for a few years, I sometimes think back at my past and that really I wasn't a very nice person in many ways. How can I know I can't change it, but how can I stop thinking about that and getting down about that?
If it is what you have done, I didn't understand. What was it?
Well, I'm thinking that sometimes I reflect on my past and that I really wasn't a very nice person in many ways. And it still is bothersome to me.
I see. Okay. I think I mentioned it to earlier, answering somebody's question, that when you have done something unwholesome in the past, and whenever you realize that it was unwholesome, from that time onward you commit wholesome karmas, do wholesome, think wholesome thoughts, speak wholesome words, and do wholesome deeds, and increase that wholesome thoughts, words, deeds, then your mind will shine like the moon free from clouds. The clouds are the unwholesome thing that we have done. They are already past history, and you don't think of them, don't worry about them, especially when you were unmindful and did not know Dhamma. You had ignorance at that time, more ignorance, and therefore that time your mind was obsessed with these unwholesome mental states, and you committed something unwholesome. Now you have come to understanding the Dhamma, practicing meditation, living a different lifestyle, and therefore you are increasing the wholesome side, and then you don't have to worry about the past. Worrying about the past is not going to bring you any new wholesome karma, and therefore just let it go. And that is also the reason why when we start meditation, I repeatedly say, don't think of the past, don't think of the future. Think of what you are doing right now, this very moment. And that is the mental state we have to cultivate again and again and again to make ourselves more peaceful and happy, and remove all our worries, regrets about the past.
Thank you,
Okay,
Bhante.
Bill?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Now we can start our practice. Can you close these pictures?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us begin our practice our usual way. We sit in a relatively comfortable posture and focus on the meaning of what I'm going to recite. Some of you may not know this discourse, and since I'm reciting in English, all of you understand, and try to join me in your whole heart and share the same metta with me in your pure, clean heart. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below, and all around, unobstructed, without hate or resentment, whether standing, walking, sitting, lying down, or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desires for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. With one voice, one mind, in unison, let us wish peace, happiness, and liberation from these epidemics, pandemics, and let them live in very, very healthy life. Now also let us focus our mind on our breathing to make mind even clearer and more pure, from free from greed, hatred, and delusion. Pay attention to your breath. You see the breath is rising and falling, meaning you inhale and exhale. Whether you do it deliberately or not, it just happened to us. We just notice it rising and passing. In between inhaling and exhaling, there is a very brief pause, noticing that you breathe in and breathe out. Don't think of anything of the past. Don't think of anything you are going to do after that in future. Just pay attention to what is happening in the present moment. In the present moment, as you breathe in and out, you feel the breath. You perceive the breath. You pay attention to the breath. You are conscious of the breath. All these we call aggregates. They all happen as we breathe in and out. When we deliberately, mindfully pay attention, when we breathe in and out, we feel the breath. We perceive the breath. We pay attention to the breath, and we become aware or conscious of the breath. As breath changes, they all change. When we see this reality, universal truth, there is nothing to excite. Everything is marked with the same impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and selflessness. When we see this, our hindrances slowly fade away. Temporarily, no greed, no resentment, no restlessness and worry, no agitation, excitement, and no doubt. Temporarily they suspend, fade away, and then we gain concentration. These five we call hindrances. When the hindrances are out of our way, we gain concentration. Now, with metta, we clean the mind to some extent. With mindfulness, we clean the mind to some extent. And finally, we clean the mind by gaining concentration without hindrances. And this is the very powerful mental state if we cultivate it in this way. And therefore, let us spend the rest of this session practicing these instructions, putting them into practice. Let us spend these few remaining minutes. Dukkha pattaca nidukkha, bhaya pattaca nibhaya, soka pattaca nisoka, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear-struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. So too may all living beings. Friends, once again, this is the best time with our clean, pure heart, with very sincere, honest intention to share our metta with all living beings. This is the time we have to wish all those who are in pain and suffering, victims of COVID-19, and those who support them, doctors, nurses, all other staffs, professional and semi-professional, whoever is able to help these people, they are working overtime. They don't have even much sleep, day and night. Some are working 12 hours, even at the risk of their own health. They are so outpouring their compassion, helping these people. And those who are generous, those who are wealthy, this is the time for them to come forward to support these desperately poor, sick people. This is the time we have to narrow the gap between the rich and the poor, the able and disabled, and therefore we let us wish all of them come together as one family, one village, to work together to return to our normal, healthy life. With this wish, we want to end this part of the session and open the floor for you to ask me questions.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Bhante, it is said that karma is intention. If someone gives dana to a normal person or an arahant, when he doesn't know the person is an arahant, how can the result be different?
Well, his intention is to give, and in that case, the person does not select the recipient. Recipient happens to be an arahant, so his merits will be greater than the merits he gain giving things to any person, because Arahant is very pure and very noble and holy. They are called the field of merits for the world. Punya Kettang Anuttarang Punya Kettang Lokasa. Incomparable field of merits for the world. Even though you are not selecting, but you gain great merits. That is a very good karma.
And Bhante, for those who aren't familiar with the word arahant,
Arahant is the one who has abandoned or destroyed, gotten rid of all defilements. Whatever defilements, particularly greed, hatred, delusion, jealousy, fear, and so forth, all these defilements are overcome, and the mind is very, very pure and clean. Without any scruple of defilements in that mind, that person is pure, that person is called Arahant. Like the Buddha and his closest disciples, and many thousands upon thousands of others who followed them after they are passing away, and they all are Arahants.
Bhante, knowing that there are three types of feeling, pleasant, neutral, and unpleasant, what state of mind is required to detect the neutral feeling?
The state of mind with mindfulness, when the mindfulness is very sharp and clear, then one can see the neutral state of mind. Otherwise, it's just merged with the other two, pleasant or unpleasant. You can make the distinction or see the distinction between pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. The state of mind you need is the mind free from sort of thinking of the past, thinking of the future, and focusing mind on what is happening this very moment. Every fraction of a second, something or other happens, and the feeling is very, sometimes it is dominating all other mental states, and therefore if we pay attention to the feeling, you can see pleasant feeling arises and it slowly fades away, and then neutral feeling arises, and that slowly fades away, and unpleasant feeling arises. Or unpleasant feeling arises first, and then it slowly turns into neutral feeling, and the pleasant feeling arises. So paying total undivided mindful attention is what one needs to see this state of mind with what you call neutral feeling. We call it neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling.
Thank you, Bhante. The next question pertains to concentration and jhanas. When you mention to us reaching deep concentration and meditation, are you referring to jhanas? And we be trying to reach these jhanic states, and are they essential to progress on the path?
Jhanic quality concentration is essential. Jhana itself is optional, but jhana quality, that means hindrances must be subsided. When the hindrances subsided, the mind is very steady state. There you gain good concentration. When you gain good concentration, you can see 5 aggregates exactly as they are. This is called seeing things as they really are. If you gain jhana, then you go, if you want to stay with jhana or concentration, you just stay with concentration. You will see one state slowly fades away, and the mind glides into the next stage. That also fades away, and then goes to the next stage, that fades away, and mind comes to the 4th level. When it comes to the 4th level, your mind is very, very clear. There are 8 qualities in the 4th stage. They are called Parisuddha, Pariyodhata, Anangana, Vigutu, Pakilesa, Mudbuddha, Kammani, Tita, Ananja, Patta. Meaning they are pure, clean, without idiosyncrasies, soft, pliable, steady, and unshakable, and imperturbable. With this state of mind, you can either develop your insight further just to get rid of all the asavas, influxes, or you develop your mind for other various powers, which I don't want to dwell upon, but that is the state we have to develop. Once we gain deepest concentration at the attainment of the 4th level of jhana, that is the state where we can destroy all our influxes. That is called asava kasava kaye jnanaya chittang abhininnameti. Mind is directed towards the destruction of influxes, asava, and that is how we attain the full enlightenment with jhanas. Without jhana, as soon as the hindrances are suppressed, mind gains some degree of concentration, enough to overcome our belief in permanent self, doubt, and believing in attainment of liberation by following rituals. That's called sila, vata, paramasa. Attachment to unwholesome sila and believing in unwholesome practices. Here sila means there is two types of sila. That is kusala sila and akusala sila. Akusala sila is the one that we are attached to. Kusala sila is the one that we develop to attain liberation. So most people are attached to akusala sila. Akusala sila are very easy, simple. They are very pleasing to the mind and so forth, but they are akusala, unwholesome. So some people attach that. So when you are free from 5 hindrances, you have these 3 enough concentration to see the danger of 3. That is believing in permanent self, doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha and morality, and attachment to this unnecessary rules and rituals. When you see that you are in the first level of enlightenment, which does not need attainment of jhanas. Many people, while listening to Dhamma talks, while sitting on the same cushion, attain the stream entry by overcoming these 3, what do you call, fetters.
Sadhu Bhante. Bhante, you mentioned sila, or morality, or ethical conduct. Can you speak to the importance of our practice of sila in reducing the hindrances that block our ability to even sit in meditation and be mindful?
Yes, sila actually is a discipline. Discipline to discipline your senses is called sila. In English, you hear the word sealant. When there is a crack, you use sealant to seal it off. Similarly, in the senses, 6 senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, tries to bring unwholesome things into the mind. That very moment, your mindfulness will block it off. Block it off. Don't let it possess your mind, invade the mind. That kind of restraining senses is called indriya samvara. Then we have to restrain ourselves from doing unwholesome things. For doing unwholesome, unethical jobs and so forth. And then we have to discipline ourselves to maintain our wholesomeness. For instance, having very regular practice, meditation, and become very generous, very compassionate, trying to understand things properly. And these also need a great deal of discipline. And therefore, these disciplines make our practice easy. many people have restlessness and worry because of lack of discipline. Mind goes here and there, or mind remembers various things done in the past, and therefore mind will not be very steady. So we don't mean that one has to wait until all the discipline is practiced and morality is perfect to practice. If one were to wait until all precepts are observed and mind becomes pure to practice meditation, one would never meditate. He is like a man who goes to the seashore and wait for the sea to become calm for him to have a swim. That fellow never swim. Similarly, when we have all kind of habitual wrong things, we start the practice and then we begin to see how those unwholesome practices will disturb our practice of meditation, interfere in our meditation. Therefore, one by one we stop. Say, for instance, somebody is habitually drinking or taking illicit drugs and so forth. When they come to meditation, it will be very hard for them. Therefore, they have to discipline to restrain and to get rid of this unwholesome practice. Then once it to meditate, it will become much easier.
Bhante, since we're already on the subject of sila or discipline, what training rules did the Buddha suggest or recommend to lay people like me and many of the other people who are on this call with you to help us with our practice?
Of course, any ordinary person living a household life, doing a job, according to Buddha's teaching, only 5 precepts they can observe. Precept number 1, to abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstaining from abusing senses, abstaining from telling lies, and abstaining from taking intoxicant that causes infatuation and heedlessness. These are the 5 precepts. And these 5 precepts are abundant, plenty for any person to practice. Each of them, when you think about very carefully about them, each of them is very, very difficult to practice. And yet, if one practices these 5 precepts, that is all he needs as a lay person to practice, even to attain stream entry. Until one attains the never eternal stage, these 5 precepts are very good.
Okay. That's a wrap.
Close now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for joining. And I want to wish once again all of you peace, happiness, solace, and comfort, especially all of us and all those who are suffering with this COVID-19, everyone who help them to console, recover, make them comfortable. May we all be well, happy, and peaceful.
Yeah, April 18th at 5 o'clock.
You, Bhante.
The only thing I've changed is that what I sent out,
Bhante.
which is
Bhante, have a good day.
required some thinking.